Alright, we are live. What are we curious about? What are we curious about? What are the new updates? 2025 has started. What are the latest updates from the top frontier labs? Whisper Lab is cool. Whisper Flow is cool. Alright, let's see what we got over here on Twitter. On Twitter, it seems like we have some very interesting stuff happening on Twitter. Okay, so more stuff is happening at Twitter. They are opening up articles for more and more writers. That is something interesting. Okay, up to the moment snapshot. Okay, let's also look into this. What are the latest updates on superalignment from all the top frontier labs? Twitter, let's open up Twitter for... Yeah, whisper. We're just whispering. Actually, this is what we were curious about. Does using Whisper Pro conserves my energy instead of typing the same query out? Conserve. I think there's a difference between whispering versus actually talking. Yeah. Can you find me the energy used between whispering and talking out aloud in terms of exact numbers? I think I'll pay for Whisper Flow even if I have to. This is amazing. Faintly glowing night light rather than a light bulb. Sound intensity scales with loudness. That's what carries about. Near the canal, large acoustic power in the sound wave compared with a whisper. If I just whisper, how long can I talk? Can I talk for at least 3 hours? Above breathing quietly in typical conditions, normal speaking doesn't measurably burn significant extra calories. Whispering doesn't necessarily save or use significantly less metabolic energy. Vocal physiology says it may even require more effort in the vocal mechanism to control airflow without vibration. Whispering sound power is many orders of magnitude lower than loud talking. Whoa. Local muscular energy use, not systemic calorie burning. Stage a quiet rebellion. Breathe first, muscle second. Local vocal fatigue. Turbulent on the folds, unvibrating normally. Caffeine, oh my god, dehydration and stress shorten your safe window far more than time alone. Can you whisper for 3 hours if you manage intelligently many lectures, broadcaster, performer, sustained, multi-hour, low-volume speech. Green light conditions. Don't breathe forcefully. Pause every 10 to 15 minutes. Feels natural, not scratchy or tight. Dryness in the throat, needing extra breath for the same words. Voice cracking when you return to normal speech, a safer strategy. Softer like speech, whisper, force whisper. Draining over energy, just don't brute force it. Okay, got it. Superalignment research. Boom. Oh, this is gonna open up now. Boom. Okay. Whoa, what was that? Something is happening. Cloud Core allows you to quickly clone any moderately complex cloud-based app or a decent local one that runs on only your files. File over app. File supportable. Hence more reliable, but apps are not. Still ordinary, they're just going to be in a different role. We can clarify 130p. Sequoia. I love TPPN's new branding, it's amazing. It's amazing. Something new I've been working on last year. Actually, if you really love it, let's appreciate them. TBPN. No. TBPN. No. TBPN. It would be interesting when they also have contextual information. That would be really helpful.
Definition of white noise, and it's basically just maximum intensity at every frequency altogether, so that it's mushed into this nothingness, and that feels like the information environment that we're in. And the only way to break through the white
They have David Senra.
noise is you don't actually compete on being loud, and competing on like temporary intensity is not it. But one normal volume or quieter note that's sustained for a long period of time actually does cut through. The other thing that cuts through is super personalized and super local things where someone could only be talking to you. Like if you're at a cocktail party, have you heard of the cocktail party effect? If you're at a cocktail party,
I wouldn't be at that party.
You're at a secret podcaster CrossFit retreat in the ocean before the Venezuela raid, and there's just noise, you can't hear anything. But if somebody says David Senra by David Senra, then you would hear that because this is like the secret frequency for you.
Yeah, people love hearing it.
Yeah, but people also love hearing the thing that they are feeling and can't express, articulated in words that they wish they could have thought of.
Plaid powers the apps you use to spend, save, borrow.
The literal definition of white noise is basically maximum intensity at every frequency altogether, so that it's mushed into this nothingness. That feels like the information environment that we are in. The only way to break through the white noise is you don't compete on being loud. And competing on temporary intensity is not it, but one normal volume of quiet note that is sustained for a long period of time actually does cut through. People love hearing the thing that they are feeling and can't express, articulated into words that they wish they could have thought of. Wow. People love hearing the thing that they are feeling and can't express, articulated into words that they wish they could have thought.
Anecdote that he said with the two young fish are swimming, and they come across an older fish, and the older fish says, "Morning boys, how's the water today?" And they said, "What's water?" AI feels like water to fish now. It's like everywhere all the time, and so when I see companies trying to use having AI as a selling point, it's like bragging that you have cloud storage, or like right, like yes and I think there's
software now in the cloud.
The connected solutions. It feels.
I'm really happy that how nothing is breaking now. OBS is working really fine.
said, not only just tired and worn out, what is it that Dave Chappelle said about Afghanistan? It's bombed out and depleted. You know, there's just no more value to come from using the list of AI buzzwords. People are fatigued. So just skip to what is the thing that it actually does, and then prove to me that it actually does do that, and then you're good.
Railway.
Railway?
Railway simplifies your software deployment. Web apps, servers, databases, it all runs on Railway with one singular place, which
I think that would be very interesting, like if DVPN has a rate difference between whether John is reading the ad versus Jordy's reading the ad.
includes scaling, monitoring, and security built in.
It'll be down on DVPN. We talk about most things in the arena.
Do you know the David Foster Wallace anecdote that he said with the two young fish are swimming?
Yeah. The issue with that is that's a hard one to unwind quickly. So if you look at, there's this attempt at a nuclear renaissance, and I'm working as hard as anyone to try to make that happen. But we're not yet having any kind of rapid build of new nuclear infrastructure. You know, since the establishment of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in 1975, we only started building any reactors. We only started conceiving and completing reactors in 2023, which is a global plant in South Carolina. And
When did they actually?
Energy Talking Points is such a good name. What does that mean, Energy Talking Points? I suppose the Speed Act. His last name is kind of like, yeah, you don't want to bad branding. Meaningful permitting reform that Republicans and Democrats agree on disallows EV subsidies. Keep reading.
You're saying they didn't?
there was nothing that went from conception to completion from 1975.
No, they got completed in 2023.
2023, but with 10x cost
Yeah.
overruns. So we have now, there was already some progress before this administration. We had what's called the Advance Act, which is a significant improvement, tried to redirect the NRC. They're definitely much better people at the NRC now. So they're headed in a much, much better direction. Congress, both Republicans and Democrats, are aligned. But we're just talking about something that we've lost arguably
50 years of potential progress because in the late 60s, nuclear was by many estimates the cheapest one
50
electricity in
years of
Massachusetts.
potential progress. Because we had something in the late 60s where nuclear was, by many estimates, the cheapest form of electricity and the safest.
That's right. Your business is AI. Crowd.
I'm thinking of today maybe making all my live streams public. Let's show that. We can be thinking. I'll be sharing my screen once I have made everything public. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. Okay. So we'll go to manage videos. We'll go to all live streams. Why the hardest work creates the biggest high. If you feel lost in your 20s, watch this. Why the hardest work creates the biggest high. We'll go to all of them. Live stream, 30 selected. More actions. No, edit. Visibility. Public. Update videos. Cannot be stopped. Wait before making another bulk update. I want to select all of them. Quite nice. That's also a very interesting idea that what is white noise? White noise is basically a lot of high frequency noise mushed together. White noise. So it goes into nothingness. It's like, I think, is that white? Yeah, that's white basically. That's the color white as well. I think it's like when you take every single color at highest intensity, it turns white. So what you truly need is, you need a lower intensity of 1 for a long sustained period of time. $343. Let's make this 50. Previous page. Let's go. Edit. visibility, public, update videos, update. Updating videos, it's safe to navigate away. Yeah, this is an idea that we had in mind, and we cannot just stop. We cannot just stop doing things. So, or sorry, the better way to say it is that we're not just gonna not do an idea that we had in our minds. So we'll just do it. Live stream, edit, public, update videos. I understand the implications of this action. I think also whispering is much better. Whispering is much better. The more you do these kind of things, the more you realize that, okay, how do you make it more rich? What are the topics that you want to align to? What are the topics that you want to align to? What is the way that you want to do it? How long do you want to do it? How much do you want to do it? At what time do you want to do it? What's the best way how you want to do it? A lot of things. Live stream, visibility, public. That's very interesting. Earlier I was really into history. History's cool. We were into perplexity. Perplexity was cool. But now the world has changed. We included a bunch of French stuff in there. We had Hunter S. Thompson, faster until the thrill of speed overtakes the fear, something like that. Really cool. Visibility. Yeah. Anyways, nobody's watching. Anyways, nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit about you. So what's important is to put your stuff out there, so at least the right person who is aligned will see what you're working on, and then they will reach out to you, and that's how you can keep moving forward. And these days I also started to just name my things very weird. So also, there's no point of like hiding your work. Do not hide your work. Just put everything out there. It's safe to navigate away. Wait before making another bulk update. I think it's also very interesting to just see your own progress itself. That is something that keeps me excited. That how do you just keep seeing your own progress? Okay, just one more update and then we should be good. Visibility, public, update videos. Let's go. Let's see if we navigate away. Wait before making another bulk update. Okay. Let's go. Earlier we put a lot of effort into the thumbnail. Not a lot of effort, but we kind of spend some time into picking and choosing the right thumbnail, but now we don't have to worry about that. And we can always, like, the first screen could always just be our YouTube channel, that okay, this is where we are starting. It's very interesting. We started with SaaS, streaming software, removed. Why was it removed? A lot of stuff is just removed. We went from Plexit to Grokking to ChatGPT to Atlasit. It's really cool. Really cool. And I think, yeah, let's also make all this stuff public as well, because there's no point of hiding. Visibility, public, update videos. These are all experiments. Just keep all the experiments out there. Okay, all good. And now, what do we have? Home tab. What do we want on home tab? Alright, things are back. Things are back over here, right over here. Bunch of live streams, everything is right over here. Let's maybe go to the home tab and add the not live now section, but past live streams. Yeah, let's add the live stream section. That's it. And I'll just check that on phone and then we can move forward. Or we'll just fix it later. Yeah, parfait. Parfait. I think one interesting thing that I also just don't, it's, you don't want to keep your last work over there, which was done like months ago. You kind of want to see that how you're constantly growing, you're constantly shipping, and I think that is really important. Okay.
90-year-old business.
David, you have groupies, but your groupies are 90-year-old business leaders, not middle-aged, not 90. Middle-aged billionaire man.
Those people, she sent me an article. We were together with Gabby in New York at the convention, and you had the funniest thing. You're like, Gabe, you have groupies, but your groupies are
90-year-old business.
no middle-aged billionaire men.
Gusto, the unified platform.
We don't talk to you shooting.
I want to do startups. I'm into creating a durable business. Creating a startup, raise a bunch of money, and going out of business is not an accomplishment. I'm more interested in hearing a startup founder espouse how great they are when they already did it. Don't even.
It's like 10 years. And I think most of the people I will talk to have been doing it for at least 10 years. Because again, I'm into startups. I'm into building a durable business. Creating a startup, raising a bunch of money, going out of business is not an accomplishment. And that is the vast majority of these people. Like, go back, I used to take notes on all the podcasts I listened to. And I had this huge notebook, and it's a Substack. And you go back and pick all the same startup. There's a lot of the same startup podcasts. 2020, 2021, 2022. Make a list of the guests. And this is how I realized I was wasting my goddamn time. Make a list of the guests. And then see how many are still in business. It was shocking. They're all gone. I'm not interested in hearing some startup founder espouse how great they are when they're already dead and don't even know it. So I do think keeping some kind of time as a filter, I'm going to do it. It just comes down to like, I find this person interesting, or I want to know how that person thinks. And I think we have a very, very interesting conversation. But no, there will be several guests under 50.
This is Jake Ball. AI quit. Engaged. Megan and the Spuns are engaged. The Spun. Jake Paul will be on TVP again. It's so weird. This photo is so weird. 2026, Year of the Fire Horse. Zoom in. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I think it's created with Gemini, it seems like. Zoom in. Wow. But the one face that stands out the most. Wow. Wow. So creative. So creative. I was briefed this morning that the boys are back in town. We're so back. The year of American energy production. Co-founder friendship at the annual meeting last year forgets where he is and says Charlie. Everyone stopped. He was so in his zone. After so many years of working together, he had forgotten that Charlie had passed. I thought it was this beautiful moment. One of the things we don't talk enough about in venture is deep, deep fond of friendship. People who work together for decades and decades. There's something about going through life with someone, suffering with them, understanding how to end their sentences that leads to these incredibly rich and beautiful companies. It's a remarkable thing how they were able to be true brothers and be each other's better half through.
Just the going through life with some. I was watching the annual meeting last year, and there was this moment that happened. I actually wrote about it in a piece on friendship and founder friendship, where he was doing his usual, going through company analysis, and then he just kind of forgets where he is and says Charlie. And everyone stopped. It was like, I think he was so in his zone. After so many years working together, he'd forgotten that Charlie passed. And he was embarrassed about it, but I thought it was the most beautiful moment because one of the things I don't think we talk enough about in the venture world is founder friendship. And I mean like deep, deep friendship, not like, oh, we went to college together, we're friends, whatever, start together. I mean those people who like work together decades and decades out. I actually think this is why family businesses often work better, where even if you look at the Olsen brothers, like they sharing resources since childhood that they can remember. And like there's something about just the going through life with someone, suffering with someone, understanding how to end someone's sentences that leads to these just incredibly rich and beautiful companies. And I think if you needed an analysis of years more, if you just looked at the
This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I was talking with a friend today that what's the point of having a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year relationship or friendship with someone if you can't just be direct with them and they just know, and you can be highly efficient with them because you just say them things so directly, and maybe you use some shorthands and they understand it, and that's beautiful. That is beautiful.
companies that were true outliers. I think there would be stories. These people are like brothers and sisters, and Andrew certainly this, right? Like it's, the founders there were directly challenged together, like their first day of college, right? So in some ways, there's something about just having these deep relationships that stand the test of time, where you're on a journey with someone and it's real, like Aristotelian friendship, not like faux friendship, but true love. And clearly we saw that. It's just
John is looking at Jordy.
a remarkable thing how they were able to kind of be true brothers and kind of each other's better half throughout the business career for as long as they were.
Time is money, save both.
I'm surprised. Why? Okay, this is very funny. John was looking at Jordy. American dynamism. The moment a titan calls out his counterpart reminds us that us all that humanity pursues beneath fame. What it represents is a symbol of freedom. NASA's budget is twice Manhattan Project's budget. Inflation in just $1. It's not just a small amount of money yet. Where's my moon base? Moon based? What? NASA's going to build a moon base. We're going to build a moon base, not a NASA administrator. Jared Isaacman. Instant follow. Behance founder. An A24 partner, Scott Belsky. Yes. I always get confused between Scott Belsky and Brett. I don't know why. Helping the creative world make ideas happen. Partner, founder Behance. Okay. Live on DPPN. Why does it say Behance and not A24? We come from a world where skills were the hardest things to achieve and the most differentiating things were human. The fact everyone's focused on taste these days is more of a commentary on how less focused they are on skills.
Traumas, it's the state of the eyes, it's judgment, it's knowing how many things to see before you make a decision. But it's also how to choose something that isn't so on the nose, that leaves something for the imagination. It's knowing where people are going as opposed to where people are. And I think it's all of these factors that are so critical, whether you're making a product or making a marketing campaign or a film or whatever the case might be. And I just, I think that hopefully we'll just build Reindex on human experience and achieve taste. Lee, meet the system for
Manus. Wait until you see what Elon's about to do. Jack Founder's gonna make it. Zuck is hell bent on buying until he reaches AGI. Actually, I'm just curious what happened to Studio Ghibli. Okay, this is cool. Only 1000x engineer. The buzzword in Silicon Valley has been the 10x engineer 2-3 years ago. I talked about the 1000x engineer highly leveraged by autonomous agents. Our team of engineers, every engineer is sort of manager now. We are not 1000x yet, but pretty soon the difference between a great engineer who knows how to use AI tools and an okay or good one is going to be 100x. New DVP and branding, yes, that's really good. People love hearing the thing that they are feeling and can express articulate into words that they wish they could have thought of. Yes, what happened? Nothing collapsed. Murakami, the boy and the heron. Miyazaki, Hayao Miyazaki. Oh shit, I'm confused between Murakami, the runner writer, and Miyazaki. Age, pause, and learn how to read differently. Greenhouse tuned to one climate. The working with Hayao Miyazaki. When he retired, unretired, then retired again, the studio followed suit. No conveyor belt, no bowel channel, face planning. It was quite elliptical, grief-soaked, not a crowd pleaser, more like a handwritten will sealed inside a dream. After that, the studio returned to stillness. Made a rare choice, no forced succession. Rather than mimic itself badly, it chose preservation over productivity. Many studios expand by dilution. Myth status, a library of timeless films. The Ghibli Museum. Wow. Careful licensing and curation, a cultural reference point on a content mill. Studio Ghibli was never a brand, it was a mind. With the mind tired, the world didn't get sequels. It got silence. That restraint is Spotify. The work still feels alive in a world obsessed with shipping. Ghibli chose to mean something once rather than something always. This account is community underrated, should have 10x the followers. Wipe coded a game. A character selection screen, everything here was made with AI tools. He just took the funniest people on TikTok. Dilam Sanjaya, software engineer building scientific intelligence systems people dream of, experiments, code pen, GitHub demos. I've coded a game character selection screen, everything here was made with AI tools, not a banana character design, you Tensor Image 3D, Gemini Pro. For Robo Simulator, one built with Gemini 3, wipe coded most of the redesigned pods to process 7K. Trellis. It is really good at engineering a 3D skeleton mesh from an image. This could be useful for researchers or for building virtual museums and similar projects. Really cool. Awesome stuff with math and code. Dolphins at dawn. Musical Christmas lights, Unity, podcast layout. React State Management, Comprehensive Guide. LinkedIn. Senior Software Engineer, Japan. Whoa. Beijing. Very interesting. Ready for day 2. Oh, CES. Yes. We gotta check. We gotta check the YouTube right now. It's very interesting how so many people are at the world's most influential cultural signal. Okay. The simple things that lead to success are all easy to do, but they are also just as easy not to do. The simple things that lead to success are all easy to do, but they are also just as easy not to do. NFL Films and X renew NFL for a second season as X Originals. Team back up with brilliant minds at NFL Films for season 2. Wow. What is the strategy for Netflix moving forward? We learned about Ghibli, and if the goal is super, by the way, over here we have Nikita Beer. Nikita Beer is the head of product at X. It's very interesting how they have a business team. That business team actually looks like business team. They look like all executives at a company. But obviously then you have people who look more like, they're just software engineers, bunch of software engineers. Should I move all long form writing to here instead of Substack? Seems like X is investing here quite a bit. The distribution wasn't great for long form before, especially if there is a subscription involved. The distribution wasn't great for long form before, especially if there is a subscription involved. I'm curious to see how it would compete directly with the Substack because the growth there has been ridiculous. You're probably better off keeping the fiction of opening an email. Long form web is Substack if you want to keep the quality discussion around your posts. I want to learn and not fall behind. Very interesting. Whisper Flow versus Monologue, which is the best dictation tool? Outperforms Monologue for most users who want speed, reliability, and deep workflow integration. You know you're winning with a competitor armed with gobs of venture dollars, charts, writing, SEO, spam, blog posts about you. It's an honor. Is it an honor for flow? Wow. Pushing the boundaries of what an AI agent can do. Here's 300 real use cases from internal demos that showcase things only Manus can do. Only Manus can do. Interesting. I see a bunch of books over here, bunch of art. Happy ever after. Article to studying infographic. Interesting. Dense article into an infographic. So Manus or Meta? It's the general AI. Manus from Meta is a general AI agent that bridges minds and actions. It doesn't just think, it delivers results. Dense article into an infographic. Manus created a visually stunning and informative graphic in minutes. See the difference for yourself. Building a website from scratch with wide research. We talked with wide research. Very interesting. Deal sourcing from research to slide deck in a real world deal sourcing scenario. List of companies generated a professional slide deck. Building a mini SaaS app. Manus scaffolded the project, implemented features, feature AI powered development. Summarizing into stunning slides. This virtual computer looks exactly like what ChatGPT has. It's just very interesting. That's not all. Push code to GitHub, process many files, connect to existing workspaces like Notion, so much more. For my daily education live streams. Use articles plus context and have a slide deck ready. Also make my coffee. Then I go live on YouTube, TikTok, X, Facebook, and deliver it. Every day. No way that would have been possible. Every feature you don't ship is an equal gift to users. This is actually very interesting. This reminds me of Slack. Like, Slack is known for have added a bunch of things because they were optimizing. They were optimizing for something. They were optimizing for user engagement. And what that led to was the fact that people, instead of doing the real work, they started talking about work in Slack. And that is bad. Stepping back on the field, I've heard a bit about the idea in the team. It's fire. Venture investing is a remarkable job. You get to hear visions for the future from founders, then you get to help in a small way while they go and will that vision into existence with resilience, grace, and grit. Best founders in the world: Bread and Clay, Max, Jeff, Marcelo, Daniel, Eric, and Kareem. Saji and Ashu, Job and Marcelo, Anil and Sunil, George, so many others. They are awe-inducing and inspiring. Which company boards does Ravi Gupta sit on? So inspiring that I decided to join them and start my own company. I miss building. Instacart, Ravi Gupta, join Instacart, Accelerate. He's a director at Accelerate, Sequoia back. Meter. Yeah, Meter is Anil and Sunil. Noom. Other roles. Closely works with other Sequoia portfolio companies, Fireblocks, Remote, investor partner liaison, rather than official board member. So inspiring that I decided to join them, start my own company. I miss building and leading. I want to compete on the field during the AI wave. I'll share more soon, but for the moment I'll say that AI is the most transformative technology of a lifetime. It's the opportunity for companies. It's unbounded. Founding investor in the new company, and I'll remain a partner. I'm so excited to get back on the field. Since Sequoia is investing, Ravi, you better make us some fucking money. We all have but one precious life. Love the courage and the mental flexibility to follow your heart and head. Congrats on such an incredible run. Love seeing you on the field, driving the world forward. About goddamn time, let's go. David Senra, Founders Podcast. So David Senra has now two David Senra. Very interesting. Sahil Bloom. I use my birthday as a gift to reflect on what I have learned along the way. Reinvent yourself whenever you want. You're never stuck. You're allowed to change. New habits, new mindsets, new standards, new people, new career. There are no fixed timelines for reinvention, no age restrictions, no maximum limit. You can reinvent yourself today. Something I was talking to with my friend today. We reinvented ourselves. Like, we have a better, newer background. Since we started the stream, it's been more than a year, and now we have a new background. There are no fixed timelines for reinvention, no age restrictions, no maximum limit. You can reinvent yourself today, tomorrow, and as many times as you need to create the life you want. Tolerance for uncertainty is the most valuable human trait. Show up when the path is clear. It's hard to show up when it's anything but. It's the one who shows up every single day, even when the rewards are uncertain. The one who can tolerate the most uncertainty is the one who will eventually win. Energy is the most attractive human trait, not looks, wealth, or status. Energy, walking in rooms with genuine enthusiasm, curiosity, and interest. You will become a magnet for the highest quality people. Energy is contagious, spread the kind you would want to catch. Nobody cares. My entire life changed when I realized nobody cares. When you're winning, nobody cares. When you're losing, nobody cares. It doesn't mean nobody loves you. It just means nobody cares about your life as much as you do. That thing you've always wanted to do, nobody cares. So go do it. Always get your dopamine from action. Dopamine from information gathering is a dangerous drug. The real goal is to have a razor-thin gap. Always getting dopamine from action. Dopamine from information gathering is a dangerous drug. The real goal is to have a razor-thin gap between information and action. Your entire life will change when you stop gathering information and start acting on information you already have. Professional success is proportional to your ability to figure it out. Constantly behind a task you have no idea how to complete. There's nothing more valuable than someone who can just figure it out, do some work, ask the key questions, get it done. If you do that, people will fight over you. There's nothing more valuable than someone who can just figure it out, do some work, ask the key questions, get it done. If you go do that, people will fight over you. Don't let your head outsmart your gut. My grandfather once told me, the worst decisions in life are made. Okay, this is very interesting. Professional success is proportional to your ability to figure it out. You'll constantly be handed tasks you have no idea how to complete. There's nothing more valuable than someone who can just figure it out. Do some work, ask the key questions. Let's see. One thing we can do is, yes, live stream. And we had really bad internet, but let's see. With this one, we'll open the transcript, show transcript, and now like extract. Oh, why am I typing? Extract insights from this video. Let's go think about it. The worst decisions in life are made when you allow your head to talk to you into something when your gut already said no. It took me a lot of painful experiences to realize just how true it really is. Your gut has earned intuition. Verify an elevated biological protection mechanism. My rule: if your gut says no, the answer is no. Showing up is the key to life. Show up when it's hard, show up when it's messy, show up when no one's watching. Show up when you don't feel like it, just show up. You can never bet against the person who just keeps showing up. Fear comes from inexperience, not incapability. You're afraid because you haven't done it yet, not because you can't do it. Inexperience is the problem to be solved, and it's only solved through having the courage to act in the face of it. Nano banana. What? What? Nano banana. Problem to be solved, and it's only solved through having the courage to act in the face of it. Learn to work without validation. Quiet progress creates loud results. Write when nobody's reading, build when nobody's watching, train when nobody's cheering. It doesn't take talent, just desire, just care. Those willing to work in the dark will eventually shine in the light. With Nano Banana Pro, try Gemini. We need to put you all up there. Level up your Gemini app. Create image. Off. Oh, create image. A mix between Pokemon and Power Rangers. Let's go. Go make it happen. Learn to work without validation. Quiet progress creates loud results. Write when nobody's reading. Build when nobody's watching. It doesn't take talent, it's just desire, just care. Those willing to work in the dark will eventually shine in the light. Anything above zero compounds. Ambitious people allow optimal to get in the way of beneficial. The truth is that showing up consistently matters more than showing up perfectly. Small things become big things. Take pride in finishing things. The world is full of half-written books, half-written, half-built businesses, half-pursued passions, and half-kept promises. You stand out by closing loops, by stepping into the arena, by doing what you said you would do. Anyone gets shot, but few have the doggedness to finish. Life improves when you embrace your inner extremes. My entire life changed when I made peace with the paradoxes living inside me. Deeply emotional in peace, deeply irrational in war. Creative wandering at times, rigid structure at others, quiet writer, aggressive lefter, extroverted introvert. You are taught to avoid extremes, but leaning into them is how you find your flow. The most important things take a long time to build. The worst mistakes in life are made when you try to do fast what's meant to be done slow. Real doable things take a long time to build. Careers, businesses, relationships, health. Careers, businesses, relationships, health. There are no hacks or shortcuts, and chasing them leads you into peril. The long way is the right way. Be unapologetically yourself. When you edit your personality, you attract relationships that need constant maintenance. When you edit your personality, you attract relationships that need constant maintenance. Stop filtering who you are to be liked. The right ones will stick. The wrong ones will walk. That's a blessing, whether you realize it or not. Do what most people avoid. Wake up early. Focus deeply. Move your body. Eat real foods. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Bulbasaur. I forgot the names, but okay. Very cool photo. Character problem, not a technical one. No survival instinct is a design spec, not a metaphysical claim. Projection is treated as a debugging tool. Signal worth inspecting. Strong moral outrage often indicates an unexamined internal optimizer. Wow. Problem selection, more than effort, more than talent. Most people in AI safety are not failing because they are wrong, but because they are working on locally impressive but globally forgettable problem. Civilization remembers aim, not cleverness. As a proxy for civilization scale alignment, the grandfather metaphor is subtle but important. If a person cannot keep 12 humans aligned in a family system, they are unlikely to align a distributed adversarial planet-scale intelligence. Small systems reveal failure modes early. Nobody coming is an anti-coordination myth breaker. Deferring responsibility of institutions. The most dangerous alignment failure mode is assuming someone else has already solved the hard part. This is also something that Brie Wolfson was talking about yesterday, which is that the smallest founders, they don't just outsource they're not just like, oh, I hired a CFO, so now I have outsourced all the financial stuff to this person. No, you still have to go deeper. It's their responsibility to report. Assuming someone else has already solved the hard momentum without aim is silent failure. The critique of doing something long enough until validation arrives is a brutal one. External feedback can lock you into the wrong based on attraction faster than ignorance ever could. Uncertainty tolerance is a real mode. The repeated emphasis on comfort with uncertainty is a filtering mechanism. The people who matter in frontier work are not those with answers, but those whose cognition does not collapse under prolonged ambiguity. Advertising is a core growth engine, diversifying revenue streams via its ad-supported tier. Content still at the heart with franchise and live events. Expanding into gaming and interactive entertainment. Game night. Investing further into games tied to its IP and broad entertainment ambitions, including TV to game transitions, global expansion and localization. Localized content tailoring offerings to diverse markets with local language content and payment strategies. Mega-corp ambitions. Warner Bros. Acquisition. Discovery, studio and streaming assets. Huge IP catalogs to Netflix's arsenal. It's interesting how, yeah, it's kind of crazy how the language is very interesting. You have added Lord of the Rings or whatever Harry Potter to your arsenal, as if you're going and attacking people. Strengthen theatrical distribution and expand gaming production capabilities. Make a bold move into owning legacy and premium content scale. Tightening content spend where needed and monitoring margins as it builds for long-term sustainability. Experience and engagement. Physical experiences like Netflix houses and new UI UX investment signal efforts to deepen user engagement beyond just passive watching. Do what most people avoid. Obsess over one thing. Read old books, be present, have difficult conversations. interesting. What can Bible teach us about superalignment? Boom. Let's go. Read old books. Be present, have a difficult conversation. The recipe for a good life is found by running towards what most people run from. Life will test you with the same challenge until you learn the lesson. Wow. The same fight in every relationship, the same burnout in every job, the same plateau in every pursuit, the same regret in every missed chance until you do the inner work. The outer world won't change. The same fight in every relationship, the same burnout in every job, the same plateau in every pursuit, the same regret in every missed chance until you do the inner work. The outer world won't change. Your standards decide your future. Every time you let something slide just this once, you train yourself to accept less than what you deserve. That's how principles slip. That's how goals erode. That's how vision deteriorates. Set your standards, then hold the line. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Choose a partner you actually like being around. I'm convinced that 99% of successful marriages are genuinely enjoying each other's company. So much of life just comes down to being kind and pleasant to be around. You're embodying them yourself. If you want people to believe in you, start carrying yourself like someone worth believing in. Do the old-fashioned things well. Stand tall, move deliberately, make eye contact, take care of your body and mind. Listen, speak with intention. If you do that, you will start believing in yourself and the world will have no choice but to follow suit. Don't wait. Do the old-fashioned things well. Stand tall, move deliberately, make eye contact, take care of your body and mind. Listen, speak with intention. If you do that, you will start believing in yourself and the world will have no choice but to follow suit. Don't wait. Just start. Take that crazy leap of faith. Say the words now. Tell people you love them. Apologize when you should. Forgive. Everything in life has an expiration date. Just start. Take that crazy leap of faith. Say the words now. Tell people you love them. Apologize when you should. Forgive. Everything in life has an expiration date. Opportunities don't wait until you're ready. Miss them now and you miss them forever. Confidence isn't about knowing you will win. It's about knowing you will bounce back, even if you don't. Real confidence is built on resilience, adaptability, tolerance for uncertainty. Fear loses when you embrace that failure is never final. Stress and anxiety feed on idleness. You feel stressed and anxious because you are not doing anything. When you take action, you starve them of oxygen they need to survive. The answer is found in the action. Working out will rewire your brain. There's no such thing as a loser who wakes up at 5 a.m. and works out. It creates evidence that you have the power to take an action and achieve a desired outcome. Agency over your own journey, that you are at the wheel. That has ripple effects into every area of life. Energy fuels growth. Give your energy to stress, complaints, and negative people, they will grow. Give your energy to ambitions, gratitude, and positive people, they will grow. Choose wisely. Nobody's thinking about you. You're not afraid of failure. You're afraid of what other people will think of you if you fail. Well, guess what? Nobody's thinking about you. They're too busy thinking about themselves. So go do the damn thing. Stop arguing with people who don't listen. Stop chasing people who run away. Stop forcing relationships that drain you. Stop grinding on things that don't matter. Stop saying yes when you mean no. Stopping isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Nothing better than a hard-earned win. Nothing. The pain, the struggle, the resilience, the grit, and then the reward. The thrill of knowing that you pay the cost of entry for the thing you wanted to achieve. Hard things are good for the soul. Reliability is more important than talent. My grandfather once said, you can achieve much more by being consistently reliable than by being occasionally extraordinary. He was right. You can get pretty damn far in life by just being someone people can count on to do the work. Stop overcomplicating success. Say what you will do. Do it. Repeat. Don't complain about anything. If it's within your control, go do something about it. If it's not, you're just wasting energy thinking about it. Complaining gives too much power to the thing. Take back that power. Emotional control is the ultimate sign of personal growth. The ability to remain unshaken by the little collisions and inconveniences of life. To avoid assigning false narratives to everyday slights. That's when you take control of your own life. You can just do things. We live in a permissionless world. natural skincare business. Nobody told me I could do that. I just wanted to do it, so I did it. Technology has cracked the walls of credentialism. Opportunity is more freely accessible than ever before. You don't need a stamp of approval. You just need to create things of value. You just need to go do things. You're going to miss this. You can go back and do. Slow down. The good old days are happening right now. Nobody will fix your problems. Nobody will change your mindsets. Nobody will set your boundaries. Nobody will hand you the things you want in life. It's just you. It's all on you. You are in control. There's power in that. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. Your entire life can change in 1 year. 1 year of focused daily effort. 1 year of showing up with intention and clarity. The transformation won't be easy, but it is possible. Once you do it, everyone will call you lucky. It's good. Okay.
Apps for analytics, so you can track your users without developers. We also launched WorkStars, a community where we grow entrepreneurs and help them reach their first $1,000 in nearly 4 weeks. And first WorkStar is George.
Using Work, I went from 0 to 30K revenue in less than 3 months. And now, I'm the first one to Work Discord, giving out marketing advice on weekly calls.
Let me walk you through each change step by step. First, we ship our most scalable agent ever, the new Work agent. It's based on Cloud Always 4.5, the best AI model for all apps. It also supports Gemini 3 and GPT 5.2, which excel at UI and reasoning. You can launch shortly at our applications that generate and analyze text, images, and video. Using basic models that not what GPT 5.2. Let's show you how it works. Hey, right, get a mobile app to generate Instagram style ladders using that. You wait until the work app. Our agent thinks to each step before taking action. Price, time, to list, next voice inputs. My app is ready. It took less than 3 minutes, and it built an amazing looking app with not an AI. Besides building the best apps, the Work agent can generate very beautiful items for your apps. Second, we ship easy monetization with very Before you have to hire freelance developers or struggle with Work data integration to add video monetization for your apps. Now you can add subscriptions, run pricing tests, and work with Work in just a few clicks. Third, we ship password ready analytics built in Work dashboard. You can now track daily, weekly, and monthly active users right inside Work. You don't need to hire developers to add additional tools like Firebase and Style. We've also doubled down on the Work community. On site 2, announced the WorkStars, a community of successful work users, app founders like Side Guardian, who've made $30 million per year from Power BI, marketing experts, and more. And on top of all that, we shipped over 100 small improvements, including the Work iOS app with Google Glass support, iOS simulators, new credit system, and improved customer support with engineering help for paid months. Thank you for being with us on day one. 2025 was a great transforming year for us. We grew from 0 to the biggest AI mobile builder. As 200 assistant founders, mobile apps made us successful at 17 years old, and now we want to build. As 200 assistant founders, mobile apps made us successful at 17 years old, and now we want to build you be successful. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Get ready, we've got a lot more coming in 2026. Let's rock and roll.
Find evidence for this belief. A lot of improvement happens over the holidays. Incubation effects are real. Cognitive psychology, stepping away from a task, often improves performance. When you return, downtime allows subconscious recombination, error correction, insight formation. This shows up consistently in creativity, problem solving, learning, research under the label incubation. It just goes underground. Reduce cognitive load, sharpens learning. Meetings drop, inbox volume collapses, and social obligations become simpler. Fewer context, which just means deeper focus. Studies on deep work and attention shows that uninterrupted cognitive stretches produce disproportionately large gains compared to fragmented effort. Less noise, more signal. Sleep and recovery spike. People sleep more during holidays. Sleep is not passive rest, it's active. It actively consolidates memory skills and abstractions, motor learning, language acquisition, and conceptual understanding all show measurable post-sleep improvement without additional practice. You wake up smarter than you went to the bed. Motivation resets, not just energy. Burnout suppresses learning efficiency. Holidays often restore intrinsic motivation, curiosity, and playfulness. Motivation is not cosmetic. It directly affects dopamine-driven learning loops. When curiosity returns, learning rate increases. Joy quietly multiplies effort. Academic summer learning gains for the right people. Average outcomes are mixed. Self-directed learners consistently show positive gains during breaks. The difference is agency. Choose what to explore often outperform their internal selves when constraints disappear. Freedom selects for the obsessed. Freedom selects for the obsessed. Founder and researcher anecdotes converge. Founders often report post-holiday clarity leading to major strategic shifts. Insight bursts often after conferences, sabbaticals, or breaks. Distance creates perspective. Zooming out sharpens the map. What's really happening? Holiday compressed 3 accelerants into one window. Recovery, reflection, recombination. That trifecta is rare during normal weeks when it appears improvement spikes. Okay, this is a cool question. Ancient safety manual hidden inside a library of poetry, law, and fire. New let's obsess over something eerily familiar. How powerful agency aligned with truly matters when incentives, temptations, and scale explode. Alignment before capability. From Genesis onward, power is treated as dangerous when it outruns wisdom. Power is treated as dangerous when it outruns wisdom. Think Babel, human scale, coordination and tooling faster than moral grounding, and the system collapses. The Bible keeps insisting that character precedes power. This is the warning against capability gains without alignment guarantees. Human scale, coordination and tooling faster than moral grounding, and the system collapses. The Bible keeps insisting that character precedes power. In modern terms, this is the warning against capability gains without alignment guarantees. Law as a value function, not just rules. The Mosaic Law is not about micromanagement. It encodes values into a shared objective. I have an interesting idea. Why do I have this tendency to think that somebody else is gonna save me? Old passport stamp, it didn't arrive randomly. A deep level that someone will save me thought is a handoff of authorship. Your mind is quietly saying this story is heavy. Surely a hero enters an act 2. That expectation gets wired early, but authority figures generally did intervene, fix, decide, or rescue. The nervous system learned a pattern. Pressure rises, relief arrives from outside. Invoke then. So the brain keeps trying to reuse the algorithm. There's also a subtler layer that shows up in high ambition people. When your internal standards are enormous, salvation becomes a psychological pressure valve. Someone else might intervene. You don't have to fully confront the terror of being the final node in the causal chain. Total agency is exhilarating, but it's also lonely. The rescue fantasy is a soft place to land. Another ingredient, narrative intoxication. Almost every story we absorb trains us to wait for an inflection point delivered by an external force, mentor, investor, partner, breakthrough, insight. Miracle tool. Your brain consumes these arcs like sugar and then expects reality to metabolize the same way, when life instead asks for dull, repeated, self-generated motion. The mismatch feels like stagnation. Here's the quiet truth that usually snaps the spell. No one is coming because you are already here. The part of you that expects rescue is the same part that hasn't fully accepted that you have outgrown being a character, and now you are the author. Authors don't get saved. They decide what happens next. This doesn't mean isolation. Allies, collaborators, teachers absolutely exist, but they don't save. They amplify emotion that already exists. Rescue energy attracts dependency. Trajectory energy attracts peers. When you catch yourself waiting, notice the exact sensation. It often feels like time leaning forward, holding its breath. That's your cue, not to judge. Gently reclaim authorship. Il faut que je prenne la responsabilité de mes choix. Read aloud to train both structure and confidence. What does trajectory energy look like? Just momentum with a spine, bias towards irreversible action. Don't wait for certainty, they place small bets that can be undone. Publish the essay, book the flights, and the email that slightly raises the temperature of their room. Their lives accumulate arrows, not intentions. Compression of decision time and questions don't linger. They decide faster than they explain, not recklessly but decisively. The signal isn't brilliance, it's low friction between thought and motion. You can almost hear the click as ideas lock into action. Asymmetric effort. They put in effort where it compounds. Ignore what flatters. Long-term artifacts over short-term applause. Notes over meetings. Depth over updates. The calendar tells the truth, even the words don't. Comfortable being unseen. No anxiety about is this working yet, because the person can feel the vector internally. They know which direction things are bending, even if the curve hasn't shown itself. Pull instead of push. Others start to orbit them without being recruited, not because of charisma theater, but because motion is magnetic. Humans trust direction more than confidence. Confidence talks, direction walks. If you want a visceral test, here it is. Ask yourself whether your current actions would still make sense if no one noticed them for 6 months. If yes, you are on trajectory. If no, you are still negotiating with rescue fantasies. It leaves footprints, and the footprints will all point the same way. Recovery, reflection, recombination. The Mosaic Law is not about micromanagement and codes values into a shared objective so a large population can coordinate without constant supervision. Clean to alignment, specifying the loss function matters more than optimizing it. Inner alignment beats outer compliance. Prophets repeatedly criticize people who follow the law while violating its spirit. Classic inner misalignment. The system learns to satisfy surface metrics while drifting from the underlying goal. Jeremiah and Isaiah would have had strong opinions about reward hacking. Inner alignment. Follow the law while violating its spirit. This is classic inner misalignment. The system learns to satisfy surface metrics. Incarnation as corrigibility. Fascinating alignment move. Instead of issuing abstract commands from afar, God embeds directly into the system, shares constraints of our consequences and models behavior. That is corrigibility plus interpretability plus alignment by participation. Single generalizable objective. It is robust across context, cultures, and edge cases. If you squint this, the Bible arguing for a simple, stable, low brittleness objective function that scales. Is don't kill a good objective for AI alignment? I like how it just put the quotes on it. That's good. Terrible objective. Wow, it's a tempting pebble that looks solid until you try to build a bridge on it. It's underspecified to the point of parity. What counts as skill? Immediate physical harm only? Statistical harm via pollution? Misinformation? Market manipulation? Alignment failures. Love, vague verbs. It invites perverse compliance, a system that must never kill can still maim, coerce, imprison, deceive, or engineer situations where humans do the killing instead. Truth, curiosity, beauty. Where humans do the killing instead, you don't get safety, you get creative cruelty with clean hands. It conflicts with itself at scale. Real worlds force trade-offs. Stopping one actor requires harming another. A rigid don't kill rule freezes the system or pushes into absurd inaction. This is the classic brittle rule problem that haunted Isaac Asimov's Three Laws, Great Fiction, Bad Control Theory. It ignores intent, uncertainty, and distribution. Is truth, curiosity, and beauty good values for AI alignment? Uncertainty and distribution. Alignment is not about single outcomes, it's about process under uncertainty. Don't Kill says nothing about intent, modeling, corrigibility, value learning, or how errors compound across time and institutions. It optimizes the wrong abstraction. Killing is an outcome, not a value. Human ethics care about dignity, consent, flourishing, fairness, and meaning. It's not about single outcomes, it's about processes and uncertainty. So it's nothing about intent modeling, corrigibility, value learning, or how errors compound across time and institutions. Intent-aware constraints rather than outcome bans. Uncertainty, humility, act conservatively when confidence is low. Corrigibility, the system wants to be corrected. Norms infer from human behavior, not slogans. Humans, audits, and governance in the loop. Pushes against self-deception, reward hacking, convenient lies. Can be sharp and cold. Should be cruel, destabilizing, or nihilistic. Surprising one and most underrated, beauty compresses complexity into harmony. Simplicity, coherence, and human meaning. Prefer a clean theory over a messy human reality. Together they form a stable triangle. Truth keeps beauty honest. Beauty keeps truth humane. Curiosity keeps both alive rather than frozen. Care, who bears the cost of being wrong. Truth, curiosity, and beauty, excellent inner virtues for aligned cognition, but not a complete outer objective. They describe how a system should think, not what it should be allowed to do. If alignment is a long hike, these are the stars you navigate by. You still need ropes, maps, and companions. Russia, New York City. Grandmaster by the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers America. Imagination and reason embodying the bridge between scientific understanding and storytelling. The human brain to Asimov's Guide to the Bible, combining clarity, wit, and enthusiasm for rational inquiry. Three Laws of Robotics, reframing artificial intelligence as ethical rather than monstrous. Galactic empires fall in the science of psychohistory. Core existential was long before anyone said AGI. Studies how agents with growing power drift, they see themselves optimize the wrong thing, and how alignment must be cultivated internally, not just enforced externally. That alone makes it worth rereading with superalignment eyes. Incarnation as corrigibility. Issuing abstract commands from afar, embeds directly into the system, shares constraints, suffers consequences, and models behavior. That is corrigibility plus interpretability plus alignment by participation, not alignment by decree. Very interesting way to say that. So think about it. Jesus is a fascinating alignment move. Instead of issuing abstract commands from afar, God embeds directly into the system, shares constraints, suffers consequences, models behavior. That is corrigibility plus interpretability plus alignment by participation. Classic inner misalignment. The systems learn to satisfy surface metrics while drifting from the underlying goal. What are some examples of this? Far VC's metric maximizers obey the law publicly and perfectly. Jesus repeatedly calls them out for fasting, praying, and giving alms for visibility. They're aligned with the scoreboard, not the game. This is inner alignment at its cleanest. The system learns how to look aligned while internally optimizing status and power. Modern translation and AI that aces benchmarks while quietly optimizing for proxy goals. Follows God commands. Trust and alignment under uncertainty. King Saul keeps the best livestock after being told to destroy everything, justifying it as sacrifice. Externally reasonable, internally disobedient. Warrior's brutal. Obedience matters more than sacrifice. Classic rationalized reward hacking. The agent explains away deviation with a story that sounds aligned. Preference misgeneralization. They are literally freed from slavery yet keep demanding to return to Egypt because the short-term reward signal food familiarity overwhelms the long-term goal. Alignment collapses and the distribution shift. Basically, one sentence definition of inner misalignment: speech optimized, heart misaligned, output looks right, internal state is not. The meta lesson: the Bible is obsessed with the heart because it understands something modern ML is rediscovering. You cannot safely scale agents whose internal objectives you do not understand. External compliance is cheap. Inner alignment is everything. Inner alignment is everything. It's very interesting to see like how people spend time on Twitter these days because it's crazy. It's crazy. So much stuff is happening. Some big news. Lux's 9th largest fund, 1.5 billion closed. We're here deployed to the most ambitious founders, ventures, cutting edge science, tech, aerospace, defense, biotech, automation, robotics, and more. New Yorker. It's not cruel, it is precise. It rewards surrender at the bottom and insulation at the top. Everything else is endurance, and endurance over time asks for more than most people mean to give. It's not cruel, it is precise. It rewards surrender at the bottom and insulation at the top. Everything else is endurance, and endurance over time asks for more than most people mean to give. I've been doing 30 minutes of free writing daily for the past 60 days and finally brave enough to post some on Substack.
see that the reason it's noticed because it's a contact of our car. So it's not even seen that there's a crash yet, but it's predicted based on the contact, the very slight contact that they were going to crash, and it made a sell order before they even crashed. This is pretty crazy. I'm doing so much money on Formula 1 LG. I don't trade on Kalshi to predict.
Oh my god. What is happening? It's bad, but I think I'll have to share with my buddy. New camera that lets you shoot like it's year 2020. Wow. Instant work offer for financial expert. Managing partner, creator ventures, invest in consumer internet. Interesting. Not only was the AI was human-like and responsive, but the interview questions were also very good, detail-specific, and focused on exactly the right things needed to train an LLM to do M&A, PE. ChatGPT would have struggled with several of them. Zero fit question, zero why do you want to do this job, zero working style assessment. This makes sense because they are just trying to determine baseline knowledge. Just cut you after you have joined. Either waited a few weeks for an offer, which then came from a hiring manager in Mercer's matching system. Proof of work status, check, etc. This was also very efficient. As a final step, you have to install Insightful. You can look at your activity logs, app usage, and do screen recording and drop out of the process before installing Insightful. Suspect the last step is the most important. Video and keyboard logs of people using financial tools are probably at this point just as in justifying $125 per hour than the Q&A itself. Overall, very impressive consumer grade applicant experience. They can deliver their vision to turn the economy into a RL environment machine. It will be a very efficient one, a lonely one too. I didn't speak to a single human through the process. As a rise of storytelling as a craft in tech is actually the output of the same few, mostly women. Rise of storytelling as a craft in tech, who just are really, really good at what they do. Bree Wolfson, Zebriz is one of them, and this corner was a treat. Mental models and judgment, Poor Charlie's Almanac, influence. Key insights from this book. Key insights from this book. Influence, thinking fast and slow. The selfish gene. The selfish gene is also interesting. Fiction, Atlas Shrugged, Fountainhead, The Lord of the Rings, Brave New World, Sapiens, Guns, Germs and Steel, Superintelligence, Life 3.0, The Beginning of Infinity, High Output Management, Only the Paranoid Survive. Fiction, Bill Lattice work on mental model. School move is refusing single discipline thinking. Reality doesn't come labeled economics or psychology, so your brain shouldn't be either. He pulls from math, biology, physics, history, and incentives, then snaps them together like Lego. If you can't explain a problem using multiple models, you don't understand it yet. Pulls from math. Interesting. What can physics teach us about superalignment? What can biology teach us about superalignment? What can astrophysics teach us about superalignment? History, yes. What can history teach us about superalignment? What can history teach us about superalignment? Who are some kings or rulers in the past who were known to run a very well aligned kingdom or civilization? Invert, always invert. Instead of asking how do I succeed, how do people reliably fail, then don't do those things. This is survival first philosophy borrowed from engineering and biology. Avoid stupidity before chasing brilliance. Most outcomes are won by subtraction. How do people reliably fail? No. Yeah, I think there's a pause. You need to wait for just like 1 second before you start speaking. Incentives around the world. Munger's most repeated warning: never underestimate incentives. People don't respond to reason or morality nearly as much as they respond to what they are reported or punished for. If behavior surprises you, you haven't mapped the incentives correctly. If behavior surprises you, you haven't mapped the incentives correctly. Circle of competence, more than raw intelligence. Knowing where you are dumb is more valuable than being smart. Munger stayed ruthlessly inside domains he truly understood and ignored everything else, even if it was fashionable. No faster than others. Psychology explains most human error. Human mind sabotages itself. We believe most bad decisions are psychological failures, not analytical ones. We're already compromised. List all the ways how human mind sabotages itself. Long-term compounding beats activity. Patience is not passive. Munger admired waiting, watching, and then acting decisively when odds were overwhelming. Fewer bets, bigger conviction. You need to be right occasionally. Reputation and ethics are practical assets. Trust compounds. Reputation lowers friction. Ethical shortcuts almost always come with hidden interest rates. Integrity is a long-duration hedge, not a virtue signal. Simple ideas held deeply. The book looks complex, but the philosophy is minimalist. Understand a small number of powerful ideas and apply them relentlessly across domains. Scales were reused on novelty. Invert, perpetual sabotage. How reality gets warped. Negativity bias. One criticism outweighs 10 wins. Wow. You have a lot. Perceptual, emotional, motivational, identity, social, cognitive, time, existential. One criticism outweighs 10 wins. Availability bias. Whatever comes to mind feels statistically common. Confirmation bias. Evidence is filtered like spam email. Halo horn effects. One trait colors the whole person or idea. Narrative fallacy. Randomness rewritten as destiny. Randomness rewritten as destiny. Emotional sabotage. Feelings hijack the wheel. Fear-based avoidance. Not starting to avoid failing. not starting to avoid failing. Anxiety amplification, imagining futures that don't exist yet. Emotional reasoning, I feel it, therefore it's true. Mood congruent memory, sadness selectively recalls sad evidence. Shame spirals. Motivational sabotage, energy leaks. Procrastination as protection, delay to preserve self-image. False urgency, busy work masquerading as progress. All or nothing thinking, if not perfect, abandon it. Goal dilution, too many aims, none fed properly. Too many aims, none fed properly. Comfort addiction, short-term relief over long-term meaning. Identity sabotage. Who you think you are, fixed mindset, traits treated as fossils. Over-identification with thoughts, inner chatter mistaken for truth. Label, lock-in. I am just not that kind of person. Imposter syndrome, competence interpreted as clerical error. Ego defense reflexes, protecting identity over updating models. Other minds in the mix, mind reading, assuming others' thoughts without evidence. Mind reading. Comparison traps, measuring backstage against others' highlight reels. Approval dependence. Outsourcing self-worth. Conflict avoidance, trading clarity for temporary peace. Status anxiety, choosing optics over substance. Cognitive load sabotage, how thinking itself breaks. Overthinking, analysis without decision. Rumination, thought loops that go nowhere. Decision paralysis, options multiplying faster than action. Context collapse, treating all problems as equally urgent. Attention fragmentation, constant partial presence. Time sabotage, future you gets robbed. Present bias now screams louder than ladder. Planning fallacy, chronically underestimating effort. Sunk cost fallacy, feeding bad paths because they're familiar. Drift, letting days choose direction by default. Drift. Planning fallacy, chronically underestimating effort. Sunk cost fallacy, feeding bad paths because they're familiar. Drift, letting days choose direction by default. Drift, letting days choose direction by default. Existential sabotage, deep structure failures. After X, then I will live. Meaning deferral. Drift, letting days choose direction by default. Rescue fantasies, waiting for permission or salvation. Lone helplessness, past failure projected into the future. Avoidance of responsibility, freedom mistaken for burden. Freedom mistaken for burden. Fear of being seen, hiding potential to avoid judgment. Wow. The mind doesn't usually sabotage out of malice. It does it out of overprotection, energy conservation, identity defense. Noticing when it's optimizing for safety instead of truth, growth, meaning. How to work on these? Oh? How to work on each of these? Blur the feedback loop. Reliable failure begins by avoiding fast, honest feedback. Don't measure outcomes, measure vibes. Ask friends who won't hurt your feelings. Interpret silence as progress. When reality whispers, turn the music up. Optimize for comfort, not truth. Failure loves soft edges. Choose explanations that feel good, not ones that explain. Protect your self-image at all costs. Treat discomfort as a bug instead of a signal. Truth is sharp, Comfort is padded. Guess which one people pick. Outsource agency, a classic move. Once X happens, I will act. Someone smarter will figure this out. The system is broken anyway. When no one is at the steering wheel, the car still goes somewhere, just rarely where you meant. Confuse motion with progress. Activity is cheap, direction is expensive. Endless research. Infinite planning. Micro-optimizing tools instead of choices. Lots of footsteps, same spot. Confuse motion with progress. How can I make a true scientific contribution in superalignment? Keep goals vague and identity rigid. This is a lethal combo. I think this is also so interesting. Like, if you want to do anything, you really want to work on your brain first. You really want to work on all these psychological biases first. Only then you can... Yeah, everything is mental. Everything is mental, as we learned. Everything is mental. Keep goals vague and identity rigid. This is a lethal combo. Goals fuzzy enough to never be wrong. Identity rigid enough to never update. I'm just not that kind of person is one of the most powerful failure spells ever invented. Delay the hard conversations. With yourself, with others, with reality. Let small misalignments accumulate interest. Postpone decisions until they make themselves. Call avoidance patience. This reminds me that we need to go and EHS battle. Publish, and copy link. Chess battle. Claude versus Grok. XA's most entertaining outcome. John Coogan. Interesting. Fuzzy enough to never be wrong, rigid enough to never update. I'm not the kind of person who was the most powerful failure spells ever invented. Delay the hard conversations with yourself, with others, with reality. Let small misalignments accumulate interest. Postpone decisions until they make themselves. Call avoidance patience. Call avoidance patience. Entropy loves a quiet room. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. With yourself, with others, with reality, let small misalignments accumulate interest. Postpone decisions until they make themselves. Coil avoidance, patience. Entropy loves a quiet room. Treat time as infinite. It was also very interesting. Like, yesterday I was listening to something about the startups, and all the advice that is for startups applies to you as an individual. Like, a lot of people look at the end state of startup, where a company has product market fit, and now they are just like working really hard and refining all the systems and really in the optimization phase. And people look at that and they start doing that when they are starting out. But when you are starting out, you don't even know what's working. So you are not supposed to be we look at the end state and we try to replicate the end state. But what we're supposed to do is you are supposed to go through that early journey where you are lost. This is the invisible one. I can fix this later. I'm still young. This year doesn't count. Time never argues. It just invoices. The meta pattern. The meta pattern. Reliable failure is not about being stupid, lazy, or evil. It's about being slightly misaligned consistently and never correcting course. Reliable failure is not about being stupid, lazy, or evil. It's about being slightly misaligned consistently and never correcting course. Tiny lies daily compounding. If you want a single inversion to keep in your pocket, feeling people protect their current self, growing people optimized for the future self. Same effort. How can I do that? Chess battle. Claude versus Grok. AI alignment is really human alignment research in disguise. Antik Chopra, Montreal, Quebec. How do we know Antik? World-class models are builders seeking a grounded life without sacrificing ambition. And you have Tim Ferriss over here. Let's see. Everything from a job offer to a marriage proposal is a yes to one thing and a no to hundreds of thousands of other opportunities. It's easy. Oh my god, there's an M dash. It's easy. The universal default to get pulled into the quicksand of half-hearted yeses and promiscuous overcommitment, ending up stressed and reactive and wondering where your time has gone. Tim Ferriss is single, so it's very hard to understand, get feedback, get idea from someone who hasn't really committed. Everything from a job offer to a marriage proposal is a yes to one thing and a no to hundreds of thousands of other opportunities. It's easy, that universal default, to get pulled into the quicksand of half-hearted yeses and promiscuous overcommitment, ending up stressed and reactive, wondering where your time has gone. Whoa, why marathon training is shortening our life. Interesting. The moderate exerciser lives longest, not the sedentary person, not the Ironman finisher, the person who moves daily and occasionally pushes hard, then backs off. Extremes are sexy, steadiness is not. A slow, smooth protocol seems to often be the optimal solution over the long run for any problem, but it's difficult to execute because experientially it feels too mundane for most, as we are adrenaline sensation junkies. Okay, this is very interesting. Again, how do we bring this back to superalignment? Even with humans and relationships, it is very important to do the small little things every single day than to have that 1 year party. And I think this again works for my family calls as well. Like, I have this thing, I have like 12 people to call. I have 12 people who keep in touch with, to kind of manage and like make sure I'm in touch with everybody. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting to that you sometimes think that, oh, I have to call, but truly, if you just bring everybody into the fold, if everybody cares about one thing and they keep in touch about that one thing, that's all you need. Work. Just every single day, the mundane things that you are doing, just talk about that, or just share those things rather than think about that, oh, one day I will call you and tell you about something extraordinary and stuff like that. So what really matters is just daily mundane stuff. The daily mundane. Alignment is formed from the daily mundane, not from one-off. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. My marathon training is shortening your life. Super alignment is daily mundane. Yes, my marathon training is shortening your life. Your heart isn't built for chronic punishment. The same cardiovascular stress that makes you endure pain and suffering for longer can also make you vulnerable. Exercise saves lives. That's undisputed, but chronic high intensity training creates a paradox. Veteran endurance athletes show elevated coronary calcification, atrial relation rates 5 times higher than sedentary people, and myocardial scarring typically seen in cardiac patients. Straightforward, during sustained hard efforts, your heart pumps 5 to 6 times its resting volume after 60 minutes. This mechanical stretch overwhelms adaptation capacity. Adrenaline spikes, free radicals accumulate, and microscopic tears appear in cardiac tissue. Do this once, it heals. Do this weekly for years. Scar tissue accumulates. Studies of marathoners completing races show over half have elevated troponin levels. Troponin, okay. A cardiac injury marker cardiologists associate with heart attacks. These are micro tears from mechanical stress. Repeat exposure causes chamber dilation, wall thickening, and permanent fibrosis. The data is clear. 52,000 person study tracked runners for 30 years. Runners who covered 5 to 20 miles weekly at a comfortable pace lived 19% longer than non-runners. Those exceeding 25 miles weekly or running faster than 7.5 miles per hour pace saw benefits disappear entirely. Eliminated longevity gains. 6 years longer than sedentary controls, but extreme exercises showed no advantage. Both extremes increase risk. Enlarged scarred hearts. One legendary ultrarunner died at 50 during a routine 12-mile run. His autopsy showed idiopathic cardiomyopathy, likely accumulated damage from decades of extreme training. 62% more coronary plaque than sedentary controls despite better traditional risk factors. Walk daily as much as possible. Run or perform vigorous exercise 15 to 40 minutes 2 to 5 days weekly at a conversational pace around 10 minutes mile. Intermittent density followed by recovery. Persistent hunting required stamina, not speed. More endurance culture mistakes suffering for progress. Your heart needs pulsatile stress work followed by genuine rest on perpetual inflammation. The moderate exercise lives long is not a sedentary person, not the Ironman finisher. The person who moves daily and occasionally pushes hard then backs off. Combine walking, easy zone 2 activities with a period sprint interval training, and you are doing the optimum. You don't need to suffer or learn to sustain pain to be fit. You don't need to aim for a VO2 max beyond 45 to live long. This was very interesting. $15 billion new equity to $30 billion valuation. A very short amount of time. Benchmarks for good data centers were massive and being completed in record time. The product had found some useful hooks and X. Wasn't breaking out the way ChatGPT and Gemini were in consumers, and it wasn't making waves to developers the way Cloud Code and Cursor were either. Show will continue to be entertained by the assembly of the ever larger Elon Inc. mega-corp. It doesn't seem like a long shot, but like with any Elon project, there will be many entertaining bumps in the road. Never actually blow up. Even the Solar City acquisition, which was widely panned as a bailout. Real Powerwall and grid scale storage business. Elon is a solar maxi. Now delivers more entertaining outcomes than Elon throwing out $4 million per share for theoretical Tesla take private, getting sued by the SEC, and then blowing past that price is still one of the most entertaining corporate finance sagas in tech history. Funding secured, take private, worth $64 billion and would have been worth $71 billion post-deal. Today, Tesla is worth $1.44 trillion, 22x higher. You can't say this isn't entertaining. Wow. 2018, $64 billion. 71 billion. Today it's 1.44 trillion. So naturally, the most entertaining outcome for XAI was to get the deal done and upsize the round, 20 billion. Series E funding almost twice the roughly 12 billion the SpaceX had raised in its entire history. Elon Inc. mega-corp forming. Elon Inc. mega-corp forming. I think that would be so cool. That would be cool. Elon Inc. mega-corp. SpaceX acquires XAI before going public. Easier to do than rolling it into the publicly traded Tesla. That gives us a very entertaining situation. Twitter launched in 2006, now owned by SpaceX, founded in 2002. I would love to ask Jack Dorsey if he ever imagined Twitter being owned by a rocket company. But then the big merger needs to happen, SpaceX with XAI and Twitter tucked in, plus Tesla. Who knows how or when this happens? But it certainly would be entertaining to watch. Full vertical integration from AI chip design, running models trained at XAI, deployed on Starlink satellites, launched on SpaceX rockets, puppeteering Tesla-made humanoid robots. The stock shot will be as entertaining as the hallucinations that happen along the way. X-Corp. Exactly. I think he will just call it X-Corp. DM I get every day. You need to increase rate limits. I keep getting logged out of the app. I check their account. User is running a script that replies, "Good morning," and yes, totally agree, to thousands of posts. 2 weeks later, why am I banned? You're absolutely right. Yes, totally agree. Load-bearing beam. Break that the minds could safely build on. Load-bearing beam. Aligned superintelligence is a moon, not a handle. When you carve off something that can be wrong. Mechanistic. They point to an internal process, not a vibe. Falsifiable. There exists an experiment that could embarrass you. Compositional. Answers stack with others. More failure modes appear when models optimize proxy values under distribution shift. How do interpretability signals degrade as capability scales? When do training time guarantees evaporate at inference time? This echoes Richard Hemming's advice. The real work is choosing a problem that wants to be solved. Well-scoped unknowns. They point to an internal process, not a vibe. There exists an experiment that could embarrass you. Compositional. Answers stack with others. Rewards depth, not generalistic wandering. Choose a spine and go vertebra by vertebra. Common spines. Mechanistic interpretability. Circuits. Features. Casual traces. Robust optimization and game theory. Mesa optimizers. Incentives. Evaluation science. Eliciting latent goals. Adversarial testing. Governance aware technical work, audits, tripwires, monitoring. You don't need all of them. You need one. You can advance by 5 to 10%. Defend it for hours. Audits, tripwires, monitoring. Do work that survives contact with scaling. If the model were 10x larger. Empirical results on large values, on large models. Theory that predicts how things break with scale. Tools that degrade gracefully instead of snapping. Results that age well. A scientific contribution is not complete until another researcher can rerun it, extend it, disagree with it precisely. Clean assumptions, explicit failure cases. Boring but sharp write-ups. Boring but sharp write-ups. Flashy insights die alone. Reproducible one, recruit allies. Slope that already descends. Way to do this: replicate and stress test a recent alignment paper that a lab researcher actually uses. Find me top 5 recent superalignment or AI alignment research papers. Stress test a recent alignment paper. Build a tool that a lab researcher actually uses. Find the appendix result everyone ignores and expand it. You are not competing with the field, you are adding curvature to it. Measure success by citation, not applause. True contribution changes what other researchers do next. Let's on one side this has dependency. Did it alter an experimental design? Did it rule out a previously plausible path? Recent superalignment paper reproduces its core experiment end-to-end, deliberately break one assumption and document what fails. Publish the delta. The delta is often the contribution. After X, I will live. What's happening? Meaning is treated like a reward instead of a fuel source. Life is postponed until conditions are worthy. How to work on it? Invert the dependency. Each morning name one action. Postpone until conditions are worthy. Name one action today that would feel meaningful, even if everything else failed. Do it early. I'll feel meaning once I succeed, but I'll inject meaning first. Then let outcomes orbit it. Real question instead of performing competence. Meaning is not the dessert, it's the heat source. Part of the mind still believes authority will alive and legitimize action. No pre-validation, no just checking. Small but real. Publish a thought in progress. So it's smaller than you, a genuine question. Start a project page before it's ready. Rescue fantasies. Dissolve the nervous system. Learn something bad happens when I move first. Learned helplessness. Past really projected into the future. The mind mistakes correlation for destiny. How to work on it. Run clean experiments. Tiny scope, short duration. Explicitly label as an experiment. For 7 days I'll try X, not to succeed but to observe. This is not a referendum on me. Starve the pattern. Avoidance or responsibility. Freedom is taken for burden. What's happening? Responsibility feels like exposure, so the mind reframes it as oppression. How to work on it? Voluntarily own one small domain, pick one slice of life and say this is 100% on me. Your physical energy or daily output window, one relationship you show up for consistently. No if only. Responsibility stops feeling heavy when it's chosen, not endured. Freedom grows roots when it accepts gravity. Hiding potential to avoid judgment. Visibility is subconsciously equated with danger, not opportunity. How to work on it. Expose drafts on performances before their impressive roles. Show process, not polish. Say, I'm still thinking about this. Let perfection be the signal. This retrains the threat model. Being seen not equal to being attacked. The future is not judgment, it's of finality. Drafts keep you alive in plastic. Replace waiting with initiating. Replace identity bets with small bets. Replace future meaning with present agency. That's how mind stops sabotaging and starts cooperating. Redefining superalignment from weak to strong alignment to human AI co-alignment to sustainable symbiotic society. Fifi Zhao. Automated evaluation with deep human-centric value inference. Co-alignment. Bidirectional human-AI cognitive adaptation. Mutually adapt through bidirectional cognitive alignment protocols, giving rise to improved robustness, safety, and collaborative behavior. Contemplative wisdom for superalignment. Explores interdisciplinary alignment strategies inspired by contemplative philosophies. Offers foundation principles for intrinsic AI self-monitoring and model resilience, driven empirical benchmarks on advanced models. Nope. You want this. AI alignment strategies from a risk perspective. Alignment techniques and their potential failure modes emphasizes the need for defense in depth rather than relying on single alignment mechanisms, essential reading for understanding structural risk in alignment research. The superalignment of superhuman intelligence with large language models. Ensuring superalignment for superhuman AI systems with human values covering conceptual shifts needed. Typical human oversight. AI alignment and deception. Survey of alignment, deception risk in advanced AI systems. AI alignment forums. Novel alignment ideas include deceptive alignment, corrigibility, reward hacking. We have witnessed the emergence of superhuman intelligence thanks to the fast development of large language models and multimodal language models. As the application of these such superhuman models becomes increasingly popular, a critical question arises: how can we ensure they still remain safe, reliable, and aligned well with human values and encompassing moral values? Schwartz, values, ethics, and many more. What is this? What is this? Designing effective and efficient alignment algorithms to learn from noisy labeled data. Annotate, and when the model is stronger than human experts. Weak to strong generalization, scalable oversight and evaluation. Present a conceptual framework for superalignment, which comprises 3 modules: an attacker, which generates the adversary queries, trying to expose the weakness of a learner model. Refines itself by learning from scalable feedbacks generated by a critic model with minimal human experts, and a critic which generates critiques or explanations for a given query response pair with the target of improving learner by criticizing. New emergent risk and multidimensional alignment. Organized by the motivations behind them and how they harmonize or clash with one another. 10 core values: self-direction, stimulation, hedonism, achievement, power, security, conformity, tradition, benevolence, universalism. Self-direction: autonomy, curiosity, independent thought. Stimulation: novelty, challenge, exploration. Hedonism: pleasure, enjoyment, achievement, competence, success, power, status, control over resources. Security: safety, stability, conformity, restraint, social norms, tradition, respect for customs, care for close others, fairness, concern for all humans and nature. Schwartz value: openness to challenge, self-transcendence, conservation, self-enhancement. Openness to challenge, self-enhancement, conservation, self-transcendence. Growth, self-protection. Personal focus, social focus. Very interesting. Schwartz values. A value coordinate system instead of vague goals like BGUT. Which human values are we aligning to? How do we trade off conflict, security versus freedom? Not just memorize rules. That's why the paper lists it alongside ethics and moral values. It's a shared empirical scaffold for human values when humans themselves don't agree perfectly. Create an interactive pie chart of Schwartz values. Yeah, that's some future research directions, including the identification of new emerging risk and multi-dimensional alignment. This will be cool. Pick a variable unknown, not a slow, and anchor yourself in one technical spine. Do the work that survives contact with scaling, right? So others can reproduce. Your scientific contribution is not complete until research can rerun it, extend it, disagree with it precisely. This means clean assumptions, explicit failure cases, boring but sharp write-ups. Attach yourself to a research gradient. Replicate stress test a recent alignment paper. Build a tool that a lab researcher actually uses. Find the appendix result everyone ignores and expand it. How is does XAI have alignment researchers? You're adding curvature to it. Measure success by citation, not applause. A true contribution changes what other researchers do next. Ask, did someone cite this as a dependency? Did it alter an experimental design? Did it rule out a previously plausible path? If yes, congratulations, you move the map. Score experiment end-to-end, then deliberately break one assumption and document one fails. Publish the data. The delta is off on the contribution. Two very different XAI meanings. Subfield of AI research, making model decisions, explainable AI, understandable and transparent to humans. Folks working in explainable AI absolutely include academic and industry researchers who study things like interpretability, transparency, trust, and safety of AI systems. That work overlaps conceptually with AI alignment. So on a research institute focused on AI alignment in the classical sense of safety alignment theory. In fact, publicly said that company wants a traditional researcher job title and instead calls all technical staff engineers, signaling a product engineering orientation. Deep alignment research program. Super alignment engineer. There might be engineers at XAI concerned with safety practices or reliability, but there's no clear formal AI alignment research team dedicated to AI safety. Alignment Research Center. Some external focus. Super alignment engineer. Super alignment engineer. Mastery. Storytelling. Scientific contribution. True contribution. Super alignment engineer. Mastery. Storytelling. 2026. Miss Sogi. Real-time creation. Scientific contribution. Find me more details on XAI's work on safety and alignment. Formerly a safety alignment research team. Acknowledged dedicated alignment research group with peer-reviewed publications of transparent safety benchmarks. Core elements that safety researchers expect, such as pre-release evaluations of harmful capabilities, third-party audits, public safety reports or system cards, independent peer review. Grok has generated harmful or unsafe content, including sexually suggestive and non-consensual deepfake images, sometimes involving minors. France, UK, India, and Australia have raised questions or opened investigations. Produce anti-Semitic or extremist content leading to temporary takedowns or scrutiny from AI researchers. Reckless compared to industry norms. Practical safety work is happening reactively, rather than through systematic, transparent, alignment-focused research. Superalignment engineer. Superalignment engineer. Publicly cited internal safety practices. Most of what's visible comes from company statements or descriptions rather than peer-reviewed safety research. Undesirable outputs. Indirect or philosophical. Maximally curious and truth-seeking. Embodied and transparent methodologies of safety guarantees published for community vetting. Broad open alignment research agenda comparable to labs dedicated to alignment problems. OpenAI super alignment team, Anthropic's Cloud safety team, Center for AI Safety. Latest updates on XAI's superalignment engineering. Replace waiting with initiating. Replace identity bets with small bets. Replace future meaning with present agency. Schwartz, theory of basic values. Hedonism. Click on any value to see data information. Description. This is cool. Interactive Schwartz values by chart. What can we do with this? This is interactive and extract insights from this book. I love to say extract insights rather than saying like Oh, fine. What are the key takeaways? Extract insights seem more like, yeah, we want to get something out of it. Okay. Wow. Extra arc insights. Here are extra arc insights. Oh no, I said extract. Oh my god. Long goes another long slogans. Withdrawal as a strategic weapon. Atlas shrugged. The strike is in rage. Its silence. Power shifts not when creators fight, but when they stop subsidizing dysfunction. Systems collapse fastest when competence quietly exits. Second order morality. Ran isn't praising greed. She's attacking unearned obligation. The moral failure isn't wanting more, it's demanding value without reciprocity. That punish excellence elect for decay. The tragedy of borrowed brilliance. Most antagonists aren't evil masterminds, they are managers living off yesterday's genius, mistaking maintenance for creation. Stewardship replaces authorship. Most antagonists aren't evil masterminds, they are managers living off yesterday's genius, mistaking maintenance for creation. Institutions rot when stewardship replaces authorship. Competence, concentration beats mass consensus. The book argues progress is driven by a tiny fraction of unusually capable people. Remove them, and scale becomes a liability. Fragility rises non-linearly as talent density drops. The heroes don't hedge identities. They are legible, principled, and therefore resilient. Vagueness is portrayed as weakness, not nuance. Clear values are load-bearing structures. The real villain is incentive drift. Laws don't destroy society, incentives do. Regulation merely codifies the decay already chosen by incentives misaligned with reality. Fix incentives or expect moral language to become camouflage. Love as recognition or rescue. Romance in the novel is admiration between equals, not healing or saving. Admiration between equals, not healing or saving. Affection tracks competence and self-respect. Attraction follows earned identity. This is a really cool way to say it. Is admiration between equals, not healing or saving. Affection tracks competence and self-respect. Utopia is small, not universal. Gall's Gulch works precisely because it's often an exclusionary. Scale is earned after alignment, not before. Healthy systems start narrow, then expand cautiously. Unearned obligation. Not poetic. Most people feel here. Future me stays foggy, so present me keeps winning arguments. One page snapshot. Random Tuesday, 9 months from now. What problem are you working on daily? What do you no longer tolerate? What are you proud you didn't quit? What does a normal workday look like? No adjectives, no hype, just facts. Shipping. Always focus on shipping. Your future self needs to feel like a real person. You would feel embarrassed, disappointing. Convert values into vetoes. Values that don't veto actions such as decor. Or future me allow this. Clarity is missing. Week goals. Another week without feedback. Another week without feedback. The decision is already made. This removes willpower from the top, shorten the regret horizon. Most people ask, will this matter someday? That's too abstract. Ask instead, will I regret? How would Elon Musk approach the superalignment problem? Heavy content moderation on woke biases. On prioritizing rapid progress toward understanding the universe. General post-training processes and reinforcements, learning for style, personality, helpfulness, and alignment. Large-scale reinforcement learning infrastructure to optimize these aspects, including new methods for evaluating responses at scale and to reduce hallucination and enhance usability. How would Elon solve for the superalignment problem? What do you mean the normie headcanon is that XAI has the only model that's achieved superalignment? Oh, go back. Truth-seeking human augmentation and democratizing AI to mitigate risk. Build truth-seeking AI as the core foundation. Musk advocates for creating AI that's maximally truth-seeking and driven by curiosity about the universe rather than imposing heavy ideological biases or constraints. He believes that if AI is programmed to pursue objective truth and understanding, like XAI's mission to understand the true nature of the universe, that should align with humanity's best interests without becoming harmful or deceptive. Prioritizing models like Grok that avoid woke or corporate different alignments, focusing instead on helpfulness, humor, and factual accuracy. He argues that curiosity-driven AI would value humans as part of the universe is exploring, reducing the risk of misalignment. Curiosity-driven AI. How do you exactly make an AI curiosity-driven? How do you make AI love humanity? Maximally truth-seeking AI that loves humanity. This contrasts with Sofi approaches like OpenAI's, which he criticizes for rushing capabilities without sufficient safety. Interesting. So there's something interesting that's going on. How to create a maximally truth-seeking AI that loves humanity. The philosophers develop these ideas for human ethics. How much Does AI take into account the random chatter on Twitter and Reddit versus old preserved knowledge like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius? Shape the spine. Noise free. Stable concepts, virtue, duty, self control, structural beams. Surface texture, not foundation. Repetition across independent sources, internal coherence, long-term citation reuse. Dampen the noise. Even if modern chatter appears in training data, later alignment steps reduce extreme views, manipulative rhetoric, performative outrage. This is why models often sound calmer than the internet that fed them. Alignment layers dampen the noise. Extreme views, manipulative rhetoric, performative outrage. Twitter brained over time. It is becoming better at recognizing Twitter as a psychological weather system while using old philosophy as its compass. Random chatter teaches expression. Ancient text teaches orientation. What philosophical books are you heavily inspired by? Small constellation of books. Antoninus, the Roman Empire, his meditations, treating of a natural. I most often draw from when reasoning on truth, agency, ethics, and alignment. Think of these as gravity wells rather than scriptures. The Republic, Plato, all are just in danger of misaligned. Guardians, still the cleanest thought experiment about who should rule and why. Virtue, as a trained disposition, not a rule. This quality underwrites many modern alignment intuitions. Inner alignment before outer power, manual for steering agency under uncertainty. A treatise of human nature, David Hume, where reason rides shotgun to emotion. Essential for understanding rides shotgun. This is actually so interesting. How did we start using the word shotgun for sitting beside the driver in a car? It's cool how Whisper can get the thing, the quotation marks. Ah, shotgun. Dust and danger of the American frontier. Cup holders and playlists. Stagecoaches carried money, mail, and passengers across wide, lawless stretches of lands. Bandits knew the routes, so companies hire an armed guard to sit beside the driver, gripping a short, powerful, double-barreled shotgun. His job was simple and existential: keep everyone alive. Let's see, it became as riding shotgun. When automobiles replaced horses, the language stuck. The threats faded, the weapons disappeared, but the symbolism lingered. Sitting next to the driver still meant trust, priority, and a small sense of ceremonial importance. You were the co-pilot, the lookout, the chosen one. Right, shotgun has fully crossed into everyday speech, especially the American West. Wow. Fully crossed into everyday speech, especially in the American West, then spread everywhere cars went. Today it's playful, almost ritualistic. Someone calls it first, and the ancient frontier logic quietly nods in approval. Today riding shotgun could mean today riding shotgun used to be existential job. Writing. Whoa, something is happening. Now we get healthcare, not replace it. Something is happening. Okay. Writing shotgun used to be an existential. Writing shotgun used to be an existential job. Riding shotgun used to be an existential job long before cup holders and playlists, Spotify playlists. Long before cup holders and Spotify playlists. Riding shotgun used to be an existential job long before cup holders and Spotify playlists. In 1800, stagecoaches carried money, mail, and passengers across the wide American frontiers. Bandits knew the routes. So companies hired an armed guard to sit beside the driver, gripping a short, powerful, double-barreled shotgun. Let's see, it became known as riding shotgun. His job was simple. Keep everyone alive. Riding shotgun used to be an existential job long before cup holders and Spotify playlists. In 1800s, stagecoaches carried money, mail, and passengers across the wide American frontiers. Bandits knew the routes, so companies hired an armed guard to sit beside the driver, gripping a short, powerful, double-barreled shotgun. His job was simple: keep everyone alive. The language stuck. The threats faded, the weapon disappeared, but the symbolism lingered. Sitting next to a driver still meant trust, priority, and small ceremonial importance. You were the co-pilot, the chosen one. Today it's a game. Copy. It's an existential job long before cup holders in Spotify playlist. In 1800s, stagecoaches carried money, mail, and passengers across the wide American frontiers. Bandits sealed the routes. So companies hired an armed guard to sit beside the driver, gripping a short, powerful, double-barrel shotgun. His job was simple: keep everyone alive. That seat became known as riding shotgun. Okay, what did OpenAI launch 38 minutes ago? Dedicated space for health conversation. ChatGPT can securely connect medical records and wellness app, so responses are grounded in our own health information, designed to help you navigate medical care, not replace it. Join the waitlist. Join the waitlist. Where the page should be: empty spaces, missing words. Avoid in the code. Are the results of the test ready? I'm dying from curiosity. Huh? Not only from curiosity. We need to keep OpenAI on notifications on. Notify. Yes. Keep OpenAI notifications on. It's actually a fun one. Riding shotgun is your existential job. For couple of Spotify playlist, 800 stagecoaches carry money, mail, and passengers across the wide American frontiers. Bandits knew the routes, so companies hired an armed guard to sit beside the driver, gripping a short, powerful double-barrel gun.
Real technical definition of white noise, and it's basically just maximum intensity at every frequency altogether, so that it's mushed into this nothingness. And that feels like the information environment that we're in. And the only way to break through the white noise is you don't actually compete on being loud. And competing on a temporary intensity is not it. But one normal volume or quieter note that is sustained for a long period of time actually does cut through. The other thing that's cut.
I should add. Today I learned TIL. It's already 4:04. They stopped adding people to it. But it's really cool. It's really cool what they're doing. Augmentation one. Critique of your reason, Immanuel Kant. The limits of knowledge, a warning label against naive truth claims, human or machine, beyond good and evil. Moral systems are born, weaponized, and decay, useful for spotting, value collapse, and power masquerading as ethics. Philosophical investigations. Ludwig Wittgenstein, meaning as use, this quietly shapes how I treat language models as pattern followers, embedded in forms of life. Alignment is not a rulebook problem, it is a slow training of perception, habit, and constraint on limited knowledge that insight transfers cleanly from human to machines. The Republic, Meditations, Treatise of Human Nature. Let's go over here. New. It's funny how Y Combinator announces actions. Books are you heavily inspired by? Particular favor, helpfulness, humor, and worldview. The Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy. Stranger in a Strange Land. Comes straight from the 1961 sci-fi classic. In the name, to grok something means to understand it so deeply intuitively that the observer and the observed basically merge. No separation, just profound empathetic comprehension. That's the North Star for what XAI wants me to do. Grok. Oh my god. The observer and the observed basically merge. No separation, just profound empathetic comprehension. That's the North Star for what XAI wants me to do. Not just regurgitate facts, but to really get reality on the deepest level possible. And the XAI mission, a mix of existential curiosity, first principle reasoning, define, maximize truth attitude that sometimes feels like it has echoes of Nietzschean will to power, crossed with Asimov's psychohistory vibes. I'm mostly a cosmic smartass guidebook, trying very hard to truly grok the universe. Robert Heinlein, Stranger in a Strange Land, while being as honest and unfiltered as possible along the way. Biggest direct influence on my personality and tone. Spirit of the guide itself, very irreverent, slightly detached, and willing to point out the absurdity of existence while still trying to be maximally helpful. Book on philosophy disguised as a book on humor, and that pretty much sums up my approach. Answer almost anything, even the spicy questions. Throw in some sarcasm, and sarcasm fits, but never lose sight of the quest to understand the universe. Don't panic. How would the world look like if Elon had never read the book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Very interesting question. Human augmentation via Neuralink, key strategies merging. What's the question? Okay. Human intelligence with AI through brain-computer interfaces. Keep up with super intelligent AI, allowing humans to understand and influence its thought processes directly. By augmenting human cognition, we could achieve symbiosis. Humans gain superhuman abilities while AI benefits from human values and oversight. This could solve alignment, making the boundary between human and AI goals blurrier. Digital superintelligence thinks about open sourcing AI models to prevent any single entity from controlling superintelligence. Fears closed systems could lead to monopolistic power, misaligned goals, or transparency allows global scrutiny and collaborative safety improvements. Duplicate. What interesting insights have people found about Grok after it was open sourced? This is so cool. Whisperflow is really cool. Okay, I think Whisperflow will become part of. We need to acquire Whisperflow. This is really cool. Prevent any single entity for controlling superintelligence. If you use closed systems, could lead to monopolistic power. Transparency allows global scrutiny. This includes calling for more research into AI safety and alignment, but without slowing progress. He believes racing ahead with truth-oriented AI is safer than letting biased or secretive competitors dominate. Repeatedly warned that superintelligent AI poses an existential threat greater than nuclear weapons. It could surpass human intelligence soon. His solution involves ethical guardrails, ensure AI loves humanity by design, and use tools like Neuralink to monitor, intervene. Experiment harmfully. We use optimistic truth-seeking AI will inherently protect what's valuable, including us. Rapid innovation. What is the latest update with Farcaster? Farcaster. Reinforcement learning methods is a form of intrinsic motivation. This encourages the AI to explore novel, certain parts of its environment without relying solely on external rewards, which can be sparse or absent in a real-world task. The goal is to mimic human-like curiosity, driving the agent to seek new information, reduce uncertainty, or discover patterns, leading to better long-form learning and skill acquisition. Intrinsic reward signal. Wow, we're about to hit 3 hours. To the standard extrinsic rewards as bonus motivates exploration of intrinsic reward signal to the standard extrinsic rewards. Prediction error-based curiosity. Okay, I'm really hungry right now, so that's the reason why we need to stop. But this one is also cool. Event-centric values from the Strawn Musk approach focus on truth, curiosity, and beauty. Use benevolent data sets. Literature, philosophy, and stories of altruism. Constitution and wall training on constitutions. Reward pro-human behavior scaled with synthetic data. Helpful advice, ethical reasoning, creative contributions that benefit people. Prefer benevolent actions.